Hey guys, and welcome to Meaningful Levity. Greetings to you wherever you are watching me from. Whether you are watching me from the United States, you're watching me from Canada, you're watching me from the motherland Africa, you're watching me from Ghana, you're watching me from Kenya, you're watching me from Uganda, Burkina Faso, Togo, wherever, Morocco, Tunisia, wherever you're watching me from, greetings to you. All right. If you are watching me from France, greetings to you. I'm based in Paris, and I'm inviting you to probably come to Meaningful Levity for an interview. All right. Now that you've seen me, I've been able to set up my podcast. Right. Um, in fact, in today's video or podcast, I wanted to discuss, or I would like to actually talk about something really, really important, okay, with regards to we as, in quotes, black people, okay, or Africans, or those who like using our Asian term, we Kemet or whatever, right? But I'm saying this to say what? I'm saying this to say that there is something that I really find not right in terms of how we educate ourselves, in terms of how we educate our children, because all the knowledge, when we acquire very bad knowledge, is that knowledge that we are going to transmit to our children, and they also transmit it to their children. It will keep on passing from generations to generations. Now, to narrow the topic down to its essence, I would say I think it's really, 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 really important that we stop telling our children that they must do the double or the triple or the quadruple of whatever that other races will have to do if they want to succeed. Let's say in the outside Africa, all right? So this message goes to you probably watching me as an American, like I said, as far as you are black. I know there's an argument. Some people say that black people, for instance, in Canada or in the States, some were actually there even before slavery, so they are like aborigines. They are like, they were part of, let's say, the Indian Americans and all of that. And there is a whole lot of story, all right, behind that. I am not into that argument. And what I have to say is that as far as you are brown, in reality, are we really black? In reality, when they talk of white and black, those who are white, are they really white? This is something white. I don't think, these walls are white. Nobody looks like this. This PC is black. Do I look like this PC? No. Right. But it's important. It's those terms to me is still, I don't really see it to be much of a problem, because whatever we choose to call ourselves, we should rather, the most important thing is that we embrace our identity as such. Okay, if black people is the term black is used to describe people that have thick lips like mine, that I find so beautiful, okay, that I can kiss whoever I want to kiss, all right, find so beautiful. So learn to love yourself. This is the most important thing. People with I don't even know how to describe my nose, right? But not a pointed nose, but a nose that is broad like mine. If that is what is qualified as black, then I love it and I embrace it as such, right? So the most important thing is what? Self-love. And I'm saying this to say that when I look at humanity, for instance, when I look at the European, when I look at the Chinese, when I look at the Arab, when I look at the American Indian, when I look at the Aboriginal Australians and what have you, I see beauty. That's all that I see. All right. But I cannot also deny the real fact that we have differences. And so when you pick the Africans or the and the African descendants, we have the same features. You pick the Europeans, they have the same features in that order. So based on these differences that are meant to make us look more beautiful, because diversity is the beauty in diversity, right? But sometimes this diversity rather is rather viewed in a negative sense, and that translates to all that we've had in history and what continues to go on, right? But that also, based on all that has gone on in history and what continues to go on in our today, tells us that we must just embrace reality, in a sense that we have to embrace the fact that though we might say, you know what, let's one world, one love and all of this, which I don't deny, because we have a shared humanity. Like I said, I cannot, when I see whoever that I see, regardless of your origin, your ethnicity, I can treat you bad, because unless you treat me bad, right? But I'm not saying everybody acts the same way, or everybody probably, some people might be more inclined to their race and all of that, right? But I'm saying this to say what? Even me, with all this so-called ability to recognize our shared humanity and the need for mutual respect regardless of our origins and ethnicities and all of this, I'm not blind to the fact that I belong to a race. And that is the race with thick lips, with, very straight and standing hair. I actually wish I could grow locks, though my hair, I'm looking forward to that anyway. But like I said, self-love is very important. So I'm saying this to say what? Learn to love yourself, and don't really focus on what others may say, or others who don't look like you may say. I'm saying this to say something, to say that in the way we educate our children, because we have had that kind of education, and then somewhere along the way, some of us had to unlearn, because what we were taught in the classroom was nothing about ourselves, nothing about, our great scholars like Sheikh Anta Diop, our great scientists that helped the invention of things like the light bulb, our great scientists that helped the invention of, let's say, the toilet, our great scientists that are behind, the building of the pyramids and all these kind of things. And we don't have any knowledge of, even sometimes narrowing it down to even our own family, immediate or closest family lineage. Sometimes we have no history at all about all of that. Who was my grandfather? I don't even have a picture of my grandfather. Okay. So I'm saying this to say, this is where our interest must be in terms of parenting. We should teach our children that they are capable, okay, because they are ancestors. So our history did not just start from slavery, no colonialism, no whatever, no all the isms and isms. No. Our history, we are a great people, and just like any other race, I believe, or I'm of the opinion that every race on this particular earth has brought something significant to this particular earth. Okay? So I'm not saying this to denigrate the other races or to feel like we're just superior, and we know. This particular mic that I'm recording into, I know that it is a product of talents from all walks of life. I strongly believe that there is an Asian mindset input into this. It probably might not just be the manufacturing of this, but if you trace in history, they have some contributions that led to the manufacturing of this. So I'm never going to, and even today, I know this is probably not made in Africa. So it's probably not made by somebody that looked like me. Though I know definitely somebody that looked like me partook in the making of this. So I believe that we all coming together and bringing up things like this that can ease our work. So based on this understanding, I know that every race that has walked on the face of this earth has contributed in one way or the other to this marvelous civilization that we are currently enjoying. But I'm not blind about the fact that, so just imagine that we all were just, imagine that, I think this particular thing that we are seeing, like I said, is based on knowledge from all these different classes of human beings that you may call races. And each particular class brought something that ended up bringing up something like this that today I can speak into for you to hear me well, right? So meaning is the uniqueness of each of these people that brought up something to make up this. And that is the more reason why we as black people should educate our children about that uniqueness of who were our ancestors, what was their civilizational vision. Okay, what did they intend to accomplish, or what was their vision, and what were they able to accomplish, and what is that vision? So we build on that knowledge. So when we look at ourselves in the mirror, apart from our physical looks that we have to embrace, that I like so much about myself, that has been able, it's thanks to this kind of learning and learning of all that I was taught in school about myself, and relearning that has been able to make me today to be to have confidence in myself, to be able to speak in the camera, because before I probably couldn't have done this. So to say that we should educate our children in this direction so that they can stand up tall, look at themselves in the mirror, and see themselves and see their souls in the image that they see, and they fall in love with that image. So that is one important thing. And the way to restore this particular image would be through educating them about their glorious history, and not just limiting it down to what is said in the textbooks about slavery and about all of that, Now, when you're able to give this education to your children, it will make them be able to stand tall, have no fear, and to be able to contribute to humanity. I'm saying this because though we have a shared humanity, I am not blind to the realities of our differences and the geopolitical situation in which we have found ourselves. That is actually segregational, based on these diversities, that should have made us rich, our share, So we still have our shared humanity, but these realities exist. So instead of telling your children that, you have to do double simply because of, or triple simply because of the color of your skin, rather educate them about this greatness. So let them understand that you are important, provided you have some value to offer to this world. Today, as I speak, I am based in France. I wasn't born and raised in France. I actually came to France for my tertiary education. But today I'm working. My first job, of course, I still have a very young career. But what do I have to say? I am accepted based on the value that I have to offer. All right? So if today or if tomorrow they feel like I no longer, the value that I have to offer is no longer needed, and then I am mistreated. I've already been mistreated in the past, all right? I've been in a situation whereby, that's why I said this is not even my first job actually. I found myself in a situation where a simple argument with a colleague worker, I was laid off and nobody cared to know why. Nobody cared to know my story, and I was just humiliated and I was left. So I'm not speaking as if I'm just saying, okay, that's the more reason why I'm making this video. I'm not trying to say, you know what, you just have value and then everything will be okay, as far as you're doing great, you'll be you always, no, what I'm saying is that once you have value, you always be needed. So if tomorrow, for instance, they feel like my value is no longer needed, but once I have the understanding that it's not, I'm not going to interpret that as if I don't have no time. I don't want to. What I'm trying to say is that I shouldn't be saying it's because of the color of my skin and it's because of this. No, rather, I am empowered, okay, through self-education to have knowledge to the point that I now have knowledge of myself and knowledge of my history and culture and greatness, that I know that I am capable. So I am not defined by what somebody says I am based on how I look or based on, no. Because once you educate your child to understand that you have to do double simply because of the color of your skin, then you are simply educating your child to cultivate inferiority complex from that early age. Now this child is going to grow up having a perception that, okay, I am not good enough and this kind of skin is bad, which I would never, if I die today and I'm to come back, if they give me multiple skins to choose, I would still choose this because I know what it contains, and that is where the education needs to be centered on. Okay, knowing that I know what my biology, and I love my biology, and I love my history, and I love my culture. So this is what you need to teach your children. Stop talking about juju, stop talking about, voodoo, and then, no. That let us know our culture to understand that, what, our spirituality goes, is all about the relationship with our ancestry, and it has nothing, which is simply which makes sense because the way I look, I am actually my ancestors. It's Professor James Small who said this. I learned this from him. Okay, he said we are our ancestors. So when we are glorifying our ancestors, we're actually glorifying our greatness, and we're actually motivating and inspiring ourselves, and we're actually evoking, forces of nature, because we are part of this nature, and the mystery behind our existence dwells amongst us. Is actually each and every one of us is an expression of that divine, and which means we are limitless because we are all part of it. That's why every life is sacred, and that is why I would never and ever, despite all that has gone, even in history, I would never and ever denigrate even those that denigrated my ancestors and that continue to denigrate us. I will never ever do that because every life is sacred, and I know they themselves are still expressions of that mystery. But I have no choice than to conscientize myself and embrace myself. Not to say I'm going to isolate myself, but I must have that knowledge of myself so that at the end of the day, somebody will not mislead me to hating myself. So this is the purpose of this particular podcast, to say that never educate your children that they must do double just because of the color of their skin. Because once you do this, he doesn't understand. There was a time that I also believed in this philosophy, but later realized that it was actually not making sense. Because once you accept that you are rejected because you are inferior, of course, and I mean, then what that means is that you are accepting that you are inferior. I know I am not superior to any, but I'm not inferior to none. Or I'm inferior to none, and I'm superior to none. But I'm great and I'm powerful. I'm superior to none because I don't look forward to denigrate nobody. I don't have no interest, because I think people who actually denigrate others are people that are actually weak. It's just like the bully. If the bully really liked himself and knew that he was strong and capable and he doesn't really need to head the little boy in school, he wouldn't do that if he really had self-love. So I think anybody who denigrates and hates others by his remarks and acts and deeds is simply somebody that is lacking self-worth and self-love. So that person needs to work on him or herself. So I'm not looking forward to denigrate anybody. So I'm not looking forward to say I'm better than you, even if I am, but I don't need to do that because I know you are unique in your way and you are great in your own way. So rather, let's not educate our children to say they should just be, against all other people. No, they should continue to treat other people with love and respect, because when you treat other people with kindness, you are at peace with your own self. You get it? But we should teach them that consciousness that they should love and embrace themselves so they can love all those other people that look like them. Because we have a lot of self-hate among us. And that is simply because we don't have this consciousness in terms of history, in terms of culture, and in terms of our uniqueness. And we cannot even recognize our oneness as people that look alike. Because once we embrace this, the other people that don't look like us necessarily would have no choice than to respect us. Because they know that when you hurt one of us, you hurting the other. Just like in our world today, if you touch one of them, like I gave the example, I was in a situation where I never really hurt that person. I was rather the victim. In reality, if we are to base on everything on justice, by the end of the day, I was rather the culprit. But I don't take that to say, I'm not interested in that drama to say, it's because of my color of my skin. It's because I'm not interested in that. Because I know I'm great. I'm great and I'm great and I'm great and I'm great. And if today, for instance, I'm not needed, my services are not needed, I'll be ever willing to just go back home. And I know anywhere I go in this world, I'll be able to do great, especially back to Africa. I know that these are my roots. Not to say, as a matter of fact, I feel at home in France. Anywhere I go, I feel at home. Because the world is for all of us, right? But if it's on the basis of my origin, on the basis of whatever, I've embraced and I love my roots, and I'm willing today, as I speak, to go back to where I come from. So that's not an issue. And I believe that I'll be able to grow and do whatever that I wish to accomplish. Because people, my ancestors, have done greater things, and I can do better. So this is how you should educate your children. But don't educate your children that, they have to just, don't cultivate those grains of inferiority complex in them. You yourself, if you are doing this because you lack knowledge of self, then you must start educating yourself about knowledge of ourselves as blacks or as Africans or whatever. So that is the way forward. Teach your children to have value, all right? Just have value for the benefit of themselves and for their communities and for the world at large, so they can be in a position to contribute to humanity. But don't teach them, because why do you tell your child that he should do it because of the color of his skin? It's simply because you yourself, you have your career, your entrepreneurship, and your blah, 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 blah. You're doing it all for yourself and not even for the people that look like you. So you are not doing it, you don't feel like you owe, or you owe your race, or you don't have any responsibility to your race. So you just educate, you feel like you want to achieve it all for yourself, and you are educating your children to grow up and achieve it all for themselves. So you are encouraging them to do it double. Now they grow up, they don't even like themselves in the first place. And that's why they grow up even hating people that look like them, because they don't equally like themselves. And they will never ever see happiness till they die, simply because their concept of pursuing success is all wrong, because they are doing it all just to be able to fit in and to be accepted. But if you had taught them to do it because they can be great and help in the building and development of the people or their race, I'm sorry to speak this way, but this is reality, right? Because the way other races treat us is because they are doing what they think they can do to make their race the best. I'm not interested in best and best, and I'm not interested in that kind of competition. That's not needed, Like I said, every race of people that walk on the face of this earth has brought something. But we know that the reality is not that case. So rather, we should also learn and we should have some loyalty and some self-respect and some self-dignity before we seek acceptance. I'm not seeking acceptance no more. I'd rather have my dignity and I respect and love myself. How did I get this love and respect, self-respect? I got it through learning my true history outside what I was taught in the classroom, where I was never taught any knowledge of myself. So this is the education that you need to give to your children. It's not about he has to do it double because of a color of his skin. No, that's not it. Even those who discriminate based on skin know for a fact that they know the value of your kind of skin that you think is inferior. So you have to rather learn that value, learn your history, learn your culture, and love yourself and stop being the victim. And stop educating your children to grow up with inferiority complex. That has to stop. All right, I think my message is clear, and you got some value in this particular video. Please subscribe and then like the video, and see you in the next video.